The last signal echoes beyond the stars. From the earliest days of human spaceflight, we gazed at the stars and asked a question that echoed through every era of science. Are we alone? Over decades, countless missions were launched, some to the moon, others to Mars, and further still to the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Arrays like the Very Large Telescope and later the Quantum Interferometer Array mapped the heavens in exquisite detail. And yet, for all our efforts, no undeniable evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence had ever been found. Just silence. Vast cosmic silence. That silence was broken in the year 2049. Deep in Chile's Atacama Desert, a region known for its unmatched clarity of the night sky, a group of geologists working with Project Horizon stumbled upon something far outside their original mission. While scanning for subsurface anomalies near a known meteorite impact site, they uncovered a metallic object, small, irregularly shaped, and unlike any meteorite previously cataloged. What caught their attention wasn't just its dense structure or unclassified alloy, but something even stranger. It emitted a faint pulse, a repeating electromagnetic signal, barely detectable, like the heartbeat of a machine buried for eons. The object was immediately airlifted to Horizon's Mobile Lab Unit 7, stationed just miles away. Initial readings revealed fractal-like patterns on its surface, symmetrical, recursive, almost deliberate, not natural. At first, it was assumed to be a hoax, a man-made beacon lost during a past expedition, a classified military probe, but soon it became clear this wasn't made on Earth. Not now, not ever. What they had discovered was something that would redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. A whisper from the void, finally heard. Back at Horizon's mobile research facility, analysis of the object was underway around the clock. It wasn't just a meteorite. Teams working in isolation initially believed the pulses were geological, remnants of cosmic radiation or magnetic decay. But those theories were quickly ruled out. The pulses were precise, uniform, repeating at mathematically significant intervals. Prime sequences, Fibonacci cycles, and golden ratios. These weren't the rhythms of nature. They were the signatures of a coded language. With high-energy tomography, the team peered beneath the object's surface. What they found stunned even the most skeptical researchers. Inside, buried beneath layers of fused metallic crystal, was a second structure. A smooth hexagonal core surrounded by faintly glowing lines, too uniform to be natural. It resembled a containment vessel, or perhaps a memory vault. When scanned with directed polarized light, the object responded. Slowly, it emitted a cascading series of pulses that, when translated into sound, revealed harmonic frequencies, the kind used in data encoding. These pulses were then mapped visually. What emerged was a complex, multi-layered fractal grid, almost like a 3D schematic, but with no obvious point of reference. Embedded in the layers were glyphs, patterns repeating in sequences, not unlike language, yet unlike any script known to Earth's history. The Horizon linguistics team, along with AI language models, began mapping the symbols. Progress was slow, but one thing became immediately clear. These weren't random etchings. They were deliberately arranged. A message, recorded and sealed in a container traveling across the galaxy. And now, after untold years, it was beginning to speak. As Project Horizon dug deeper into the alien artifact's data structure, another arm of the operation, the Astrobiology Correlation Unit, began running comparative scans. The internal composition of the artifact, its metallic isotopes and crystalline traces, held clues that matched a long-forgotten Martian anomaly. Back in 2028, during the Mars Microprobe program, a small unmanned rover named Nix-3 had captured sediment samples from the base of Olympus Mons. At the time, it caused a brief stir. Some scientists claimed the presence of nanoscopic structures resembling fossilized microbes. But without consensus, the findings were buried in controversy and in bureaucracy. Now, 20 years later, Horizon's AI linked those archived samples to the trace elements found inside the newly discovered object. The nanostructures weren't just similar, they were genetically and chemically identical, as if the same biosignature had emerged on Mars and within this alien device. Was the artifact Martian in origin, or had it landed there once, long before humans arrived, leaving behind a microbial fingerprint? Even more alarming, embedded in the artifact's memory vault was a highly magnified image, a scanning map of Olympus Mons, and in the lower quadrant, a red highlighted sector marked with foreign glyphs, the same that now began translating through Horizon's evolving lexicon. One symbol repeated again and again, a spiral within a triangle. Later, that symbol would be interpreted as origin, or possibly birthplace. If true, it would mean the artifact had either come from Mars or had studied it. And if it had studied Mars, it was watching long before we ever arrived. A new question took shape. Was Mars ever truly lifeless? The artifact's pulses continued, no longer just rhythmic noise, but a structured data stream. At first glance, it resembled a coded beacon, a repeating message sent across time and distance. But deeper analysis revealed something more profound. The pulses changed depending on proximity to electromagnetic sources, almost as if the object were reacting. It was adaptive, aware. The team fed the signal into an advanced quantum pattern recognition system built to detect anomalies in deep space transmissions. What emerged from the output stunned the scientific community, a three-dimensional star chart. It wasn't simply a navigation map, it was a trajectory, a travel log. Dozens of stellar coordinates glowed in sequence, connecting stars across vast sectors of the galaxy. Some we knew, many we didn't. The path began in the Orion Spur, our local arm of the Milky Way, but curved outward toward regions no human probe had ever ventured. At each plotted point, glyphs were embedded, as if annotating locations of interest or warning. What was more extraordinary, the final destination of the chart, the endpoint of the path, was Earth. This object had been sent to us, or perhaps left behind, waiting to be found. The artifact was no simple remnant. It was an interstellar courier, carrying messages, memories, and perhaps a map of contact points with intelligent civilizations. Some of the glyphs, when matched with Horizon's lexicon, translated roughly as memory. Watcher and seed. Had this object seeded life elsewhere? Was it part of a network? And if Earth was the final destination, why now? Why did it finally awaken in our time? Section 5. As Horizon's linguists decoded more of the alien glyphs, a recurring spatial reference began to emerge. The same glyphs marked as origin and life appeared next to a recognizable pattern, a subglacial schematic, overlaid with coordinates matching none other than Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter. Europa had long been suspected to harbor a subsurface ocean, a place where microbial life might exist beneath its frozen crust. But this was different. This was intentional. The team dispatched a deep space autonomous probe, Aurelius 9, outfitted with seismic and magnetic sensors. Weeks later, it arrived and began orbital scans of Europa's southern hemisphere. What it found defied natural explanation. Beneath 10 kilometers of ancient ice hidden within the moon's oceanic shelf was a perfectly geometric void, a rectangular chasm nearly a kilometer in length, emitting faint, repeating electromagnetic pulses that mirrored the artifact's original beacon. It was artificial, and it was old, far older than any known human structure. With limited time before Jupiter's radiation damaged the probe, Aurelius Stein fired a high-energy sonar burst into the void. The return signal was garbled but unmistakable, a sequence of tones in the same prime number intervals first detected in the Antarctic artifact. They were connected. The scientists back on Earth went silent. The implications were overwhelming. Two artifacts, one buried on Earth, the other hidden beneath the icy crust of the Jovian moon. Both pulsing with intelligence, both calling out not to be found, but to be understood. Humanity wasn't alone, and whatever had left these traces behind had walked the solar system before us. Back at Horizon HQ, the deciphering of the alien glyphs had reached an unexpected breakthrough. A separate stream of data from both the Antarctic artifact and Europa's vault had begun to overlap, not in coordinates or mathematical patterns, but in abstract sequences. The glyphs formed loops, spirals, and crescents, structures without clear reference points. Initially dismissed as corrupted fragments, these formations began to show rhythmic consistency. A linguist compared the timing of the pulses to harmonic ratios found in Earth music. What if these weren't messages in the conventional sense? What if they were expressions? A team of cognitive scientists and anthropologists proposed a radical theory. The alien data wasn't purely informative. It was emotional, perhaps even aesthetic. The glyph sequences, when rendered in multidimensional models, formed visual harmonics, like mathematical sculptures. Some resembled celestial alignments, others biological geometries, like the branching of trees or the spiral of DNA. It was as if the artifacts were not merely storing knowledge, but meaning. A poet among the Horizon team famously described them as messages meant for no one, transmissions not for warning or summoning, but for remembering. A time capsule of thought, art, and memory cast adrift through space. And one phrase repeated in nearly every data cluster: we see those who see. Was it a welcome? A challenge? A lament? No one could say for sure, but what became clear was that this intelligence, wherever it came from, valued more than science or travel. It valued consciousness. It valued those who could look beyond survival and choose to understand. As the alien data was mapped and rendered, linguists and waveform analysts detected something chilling beneath the elegance of the glyphs and geometric pulses. Subharmonics embedded in the signal, previously ignored as noise, formed an entirely separate pattern when isolated. It wasn't part of the artifact's music. It was an echo, a ghost frequency of repeating bursts. Once compressed and reconstructed into visual form, the signal transformed into an astronomical image, a black silhouette stretching across a star field. At first, it seemed like the shape of a stellar nebula, but when the coordinates were compared with archived telescope data, the truth came into focus. It was the Andara supernova remnant, a region of space where an entire star system had vanished 70,000 years ago. The alien glyphs marked this region with symbols that no longer translated as origin or memory. These new glyphs meant falling, burning, cleansing, and accompanying the image was a tone, lower than any human could hear unaided. A wave so deep and sustained, it required quantum simulation to render. The tone lasted 13 minutes, and it did not repeat. A message then, but not a message of peace. The Horizon team now faced an unsettling reality. The artifact wasn't just a relic, it was a record, a chronicle of a destroyed civilization. A civilization that may have been watched, just like we were. One final translated glyph flashed across the artifact's interface before the tone ceased. We warned them. But who? Themselves? Or us? The discovery of the warning and the implication that an entire star system had once been annihilated sent shock waves beyond the scientific community. World leaders were briefed. Military alliances convened in classified orbiting platforms. Artificial intelligence models were tasked with simulating every possible interpretation of the alien message. Was the destruction natural, intentional, self-inflicted? But the question that haunted them all was not what had happened. It was when it might happen again. Horizon's astrophysicists traced the pulse signatures back through space, comparing them with deep sky surveys. One disturbing correlation emerged. The echoes from the Andara remnant matched a distant radiation spike detected near Proxima Centauri, only 6 light-years from Earth. It was as if the wave was moving. Earth's space agencies responded fast. Lunar telescopes were retasked to watch for gravitational anomalies. The Aegis Net, a joint planetary defense grid once designed for asteroid threats, was repurposed to monitor deep space. And beneath Antarctica, inside the Horizon facility, a massive chamber was prepared around the alien artifact, not to study it, but to protect it. Some believed the artifact was a beacon, others feared it was a lure, but all agreed we had crossed a threshold. Humanity was no longer a passive observer in the universe. We were now a participant in a much older, much larger story, and the next chapter was writing itself faster than anyone could predict. At 0318, Universal Time, observatories in Chile, Australia, and the Moon recorded an identical transmission, a signal that pulsed once every 3.7 seconds, originating from a point near the edge of the Oort cloud. The pulse resembled nothing in the original alien data, yet the structure bore unmistakable similarities. Same harmonic layering, same frequency caps. But here's what froze the blood of every analyst listening. It wasn't coming from Earth. We hadn't replied. Something else had. The transmission was brief, only 92 seconds, and encoded in what seemed like a blend of our own electromagnetic emissions. Patterns from human radio, music, even Morse code were layered inside it, like it had been studying us. And embedded in the pulse was a voice, or at least a synthetic approximation of one. It spoke not in English, nor any known tongue, but in sound envelopes that our AI linguistics models translated as echo received, you are seen, await silence before the path reopens. The message repeated twice, then the signal stopped. Aboard the Horizon network, panic mixed with awe. This wasn't an automated relic. Something or someone had acknowledged us. But the phrase await silence drew sharp debate. Was it a warning to stop transmitting? Or was the silence a reference to cosmic alignment, a timing mechanism, a countdown? One thing was clear. We were not alone in receiving the first message. We were simply the last to understand it. Weeks passed. No new signals, no follow-up from the stars. The skies returned to static, but Earth had already changed. The Horizon Initiative had shifted its mission from investigation to preparation. Massive relay dishes were constructed on Mars. Orbital sentinels equipped with gravimetric monitors watched the void, not for threats, but for patterns. Humanity, for the first time, had something greater than survival to strive for. A place in a galactic conversation that had been going long before we were born. Yet for many, the silence was louder than the signal. What did await silence truly mean? Was it a test, a countdown, or was silence the only safety and our reply had already marked us? On Earth, artists, writers, and philosophers explored the message's deeper meaning. Schools taught children the alien glyphs as a second language. The world unified in awe and fear. And in a sealed chamber beneath Antarctica, the artifact remained, still glowing, still listening. Then one day, exactly 90 days after the original pulse, it dimmed. Just once, a single blink, a heartbeat, not random, not malfunction. It was waiting for something or someone. Humanity now watches the stars not just with telescopes, but with hope and a deep, ancient fear that the next sound they hear will not be a greeting, but a reckoning. In the infinite void of the cosmos, there are few truths, but one remains. We were never alone. We were simply the last to listen.